wedding. It was a fantastic weather. Is outside, so it's nice during the day of the weddings. Because since my wife was in it, so she left the hotel around 8 or 9 a.m. to get the hair done, the makeup done, and everything. I got to go see F1, fully reclined back in the theater over there at the mall. It was nice. And let me tell you something. Awesome movie. And listen, Jurassic World is coming out this week. So that means that it's not going to be in IMAX for much longer because that's just how the movies work nowadays. Oh. So if you can go see F1 before it leaves IMAX or whatever your version of the best, theater that you can get in there, sometimes Dolby Digital or Atmos or whatever it is, go see it. It is awesome.
Yeah, that's the one with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, amazing. And I also was thinking, is there even a bad Brad Pitt movie like that? I think I've enjoyed every movie he's been in.
Oh, I don't know. There was some bad ones.
There were some bad ones. I just can't think of any.
Yeah,
but you never know. But something I want you guys to think about is that, hey, if you could have any piece of memorabilia from any Tennessee Titans moment in history, what would that be? Now, obviously, Blaine, you have your own, pieces of, time from back then. But I was just thinking, what would be something that fans would want? So I'll give you mine. We'll go around the room real quick if you even got one, Blaine. But, we'll go around the room. So mine would be, I was at the Seattle game where Chris Johnson broke 2,000 yards. But I was in the press box for the game, and their suite was connected to the press box. And for those that may not know, basically loud conversations, cheering is basically discouraged in the press box area. Well, that bled over to where we were sitting as fans. So I couldn't even get to cheer really loud, jump up and down that, Chris Johnson broke, the hit 2,000 yards. So I'd want those cleats because that would make up for that.
That's surprising that you didn't break the rule.
I was very close.
There's a time and a place to always break rules, and that was one of them.
Yeah. I think if maybe they had allowed alcohol in that part of the suite as well,
they did?
That probably would have happened. That rule would have been broken.
What kind of game were you at?
I know.
Man?
It was not it was not a fun experience in that particular moment. I love Seattle. Seattle's a fantastic city to visit, but that particular situation was
great
not
stadium
great.
Too, man.
Great
They're fans. The 12th man, right?
Yeah,
they were pretty loud. It was one of the few open air stadiums that were really loud.
Yeah. Do you have anything other? Because you probably could have got some stuff, from everybody else. But is there ever a moment, maybe after your playing days, where you're like, oh man, that'd be a cool thing to have, as a piece of, a souvenir or something?
Well, with me having so many things, I guess a commemorative, football that says Music City Miracle on it, and maybe just signed, and maybe Dyson or Wycheck throwing the ball to Dyson. Yeah. That would be pretty cool because that's I know it's in the top 10 for sure, top 5 plays in NFL history. So naturally, that's number 1 for Titans history. So I'd love to have some, really just showcasing that individual play, knowing the backdrop and history of that whole play, where it could have been any players running that play, where all kind of guys ran the play at practice. It was a play we ran every Saturday, and different players, even including myself. I was never the thrower though, so that was a fun thing. Alan Lowry, who's a special team coach, I think did it in the 70s or something for Texas. He was a coach or a player, one of the two. But, man, it was a fun thing. Nobody ever thought about that we would ever use that play. So I think that's really why it was a lot of guys would have fun with it at practice and just running around and stuff. And it was really kind of a fun day with, family there as well. So, yeah, I think just knowing the backdrop of that day, that was special because there's a part of you that think, hey, man, this possibly could work. And there's another side of you say, this will never work in a game. Especially in the moment.
Yeah.
And then to see it actually work after doing it for, 18, 19 weeks of practicing and having fun with it. So, to see it work, man, that was pretty incredible. And also players who were down, I think it was Mason was supposed to go first. He had a hammy, I think Dorsett, and then that got to Dyson. as players. I don't know if people know that, or maybe I'm getting those mixed up. But those guys were definitely asked to do that actual play, and for whatever reason, they couldn't do it.
Jackson, producer Jackson behind the glass, what would be a piece that you would want?
So I have two.
Okay.
One's obvious, and then one's just a random moment in Titans history that was one of my first memories of going to a Titans game. So obviously, I would want Kevin Dyson's cleats from the Music City Miracle game. The random one would be the game ball from Vince Young versus the Arizona Cardinals, the 99-yard drive.
With the Kenny Britt touchdown at the end?
That ball I would want.
That is a good one. That's a good one.
That was a big time play. That was pretty phenomenal. How
Yeah.
he drove him down, and you knew he was going to do it based on how the game was going. You felt like there was no way that they were going to be stopped.
That was one of my first Titans memories. So I really would like that game ball.
Is Ross back there? Does he have one?
Ross is not back.
Okay. Well, if he wants to add one later, we got some in the F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. Duck said, Duck Falling in the chat wants Earl Campbell's torn jersey or the football from Music City Miracle. Duck on Quack. So a lot of ducks in the chat today. Duck on Quack. I'd want Cortland Finnegan's helmet that Andre Johnson ripped off in their on-field fight.
Why would you want that?
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good one. 615-737-1045 if you want to call in. I have a funny Chris Johnson story. Speaking of souvenirs and autographs and all this stuff, I met Chris Johnson last minute at one point to be able to get an autograph thing. And the only thing I had on me for him to sign was a University of Memphis football helmet, like a little small one. And for those that may not know,
were they in the same conference at the time?
He played University of Memphis, East Carolina, played University of Memphis. It is a regular conference game, so they were in the conference together. So that's the only thing I had. He signed it, and this is a couple years later. He signed it with his stat line from the 2007 game where he went for 20 carries, 301 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. And he signed that like it was nothing.
Against Memphis?
I mean, he just rattled that off like it was like his last name in his signature. Like he just had that. So I thought that was pretty funny. I still have that helmet, so that's a good one. 615-737-1045 is the number. We got some calls coming in for the piece of history, of Titans history that they would want. We're also got a big time not Titans trade, but a big time Steelers NFL trade. And maybe they're a former Titans player, but maybe there's an opportunity for another Titans player to maybe get involved in the trading. I'm kind of against it, but we'll talk about that later. We're also going to talk about the offensive line and Warren Sharp, who does some of the best deep dives heading into the season, has put out his list of top 32 pass blocking units. We'll talk about where the Titans ranked on that and what that could mean for the Titans going forward. But let's go to Ryan, who wants to talk about his piece of Titans history. Ryan, you're on the phone with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I want the football that Marcus Mariota threw when it's the overtime win versus the Eagles. I think the Titans won 26-23 in 2018. That drive, man. I mean. I was there for that game, and I was right there on the third row. So I was like, man, please give me that ball, but I couldn't get it. That'd be awesome. Thank you, guys.
That's a good one. He's got Corey down there. That's that play where Corey Davis does the toe tap to catch it. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. We got Swalt 10 in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube. I'd want Eddie's glove from the game against the Ravens when Eddie gave Ray a stiff arm from hell. That stiff arm still gives me goosebumps. So that'd be a good one right there. There you go. Yeah. All right. When we come back, we'll take more of your phone calls, 615-737-1045. We'll also get into the trade, how it may possibly affect the Tennessee Titans, and whether Tennessee Titans should actually want to trade a certain tight end. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Now, listen, we have some exciting news for you. For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 26 years. And we've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we are now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So pretty cool getting to watch a small town mechanic starting in the barn of a backyard of a single wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine, did you?
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Stores, 615-737-1045. What souvenir or piece of memorabilia from Tennessee Titans history would you want for, your collection, so you will? Let us know. 615-737-1045 is the number. Believe that we're going to have a poll up or a Twitter question up on Cover 2's Twitter page at Blaine and Zach. Is that correct?
It's already up.
There you go. So we got that as well. So
there we go. Yeah.
So there it is over at Blaine and Zach on Twitter. And of course, we have the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. So today, so for those that may not know, NBA free agency is open today, but you would not know that because the NFL decided about this trade.
Oh, my.
I'm not saying that this was announced on purpose today.
It was intentional. It was intentional.
It was definitely intentional.
Let's wait until then.
But the Steelers have agreed to acquire Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a 7th-round pick for 2027 from Miami. And the Dolphins get for those players, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and a 2027 5th-round pick. Of course, still pending physicals. Yes, what you got, Jackson?
All I'm saying is Jalen Ramsey's announcement video looked very high quality production.
It was.
That would have taken at least a few days.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If for those that may not know, go look at Jalen Ramsey's Twitter feed. He announced it himself. And then it's funny because I don't know if you caught all the different announcements. It's like, okay, Jalen Ramsey got traded because he put out the thing. So all the talking heads, Ian Rappaport's, Adam Schefter's, they all put out, there's a trade for Jalen Ramsey. Then it was like, it's Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick, the rare player-for-player trade. And then it was Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick and draft picks. Then it was Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith for Minkah Fitzpatrick and draft picks. Like, the news just trickled out over the course of an hour until we finally got a trade like 50 minutes into the initial announcement.
But Jalen Ramsey did that.
But Jalen Ramsey did the initial announcement, and his video... It is a high-quality production. So if you were to buy in to like what Jackson said and what I alluded to earlier, that this has been in the works for a little bit of time.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to think that they waited to make an announcement on the day of NBA free agency actually opening.
It's
that
collusion.
Probably was happenstance, but when I say that is because maybe there are parts of the trade that they want to make sure was solidified. There's different pieces to this, Jonnu, or to the 5th round, or was it going to be a 4th round, or was it going to be a 6th round pick? Maybe they kept haggling over that.
Right.
See, so to your point, he probably did have time to make the video.
They wanted to make sure the video was ready.
Like $25 million a year. I think you can get some up and running pretty fast.
And
to be honest, within a day, in 24 hours, I think so.
And a part of this is that the Pittsburgh Steelers are taking on the almost entirety of the contract of Jalen Ramsey, which is $20-something million.
Because the Dolphins wanted to get rid of the whole contract that they got that they gave Jalen last year.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think it says something about two different teams at two different moments in their team building. So I want to focus on the Steelers first. The Steelers are getting Jonnu Smith, who obviously is familiar with Art Smith, and they reunite. They're also getting Jalen Ramsey, who is a little bit older, but he's a versatile chess piece because he could play in the box, he could play the star position, he could play out wide, he could do all these certain kind of things. And they only had to really give up Minkah Fitzpatrick, which isn't an only kind of thing, but it seemed like his time at Pittsburgh was starting to sour when you start hearing some of the rumors and grumblings. And I don't really know how much of that is actually true, how much is that a disgruntled fan base. But they do give up Minkah Fitzpatrick, who is still a star despite a down year, still a star safety in this league. But they acquired Aaron Rodgers, right? They signed Juan Thornhill. They signed Darius Slay. They've revamped this team, and it would seem to be a very uncharacteristic offseason for a Pittsburgh Steelers team to be this aggressive, which makes you have to kind of think that they are really trying to go all in with Aaron Rodgers this year and make sure to provide themselves, outside of injury, the best chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say they're definitely trying to go all in on once they get in the playoffs, they don't want to be one and done. And they're going to give all the pieces, say, hey, we did all we could to at least get there. Whether that happens or not is a whole other story. But, yeah, it definitely seems that way. You just haven't seen the Steelers do moves like this, especially at this time. For me, it's funny, Mika, didn't he get drafted by the Dolphins? And didn't the Dolphins trade him?
Well, that was going to be my next thing. You are correct because
I remember that.
Because it was only like a year or two after they had him.
But they had him playing corner.
And then the Steelers moved him to safety.
That's what he was.
And I can't recall of a time, Blaine, that a player has been traded, then traded back to the team that originally traded him. Obviously, different regimes and stuff, but that is a very weird occurrence in the NFL to be traded to another team, stay with that team for a long time, and then get traded back to the team that originally drafted you and traded you.
Seen some guys get cut and then go back to the team, but to get traded back and forth like that over a period of a 5-year window, that was
got to remember,
I'm sure that was somebody, but man, that doesn't happen very often.
Drafted in 2018.
NBA, yes.
Yeah. Drafted in 2018, was traded 2019.
Yeah.
A year and a half into his initial career, and then he's been with Pittsburgh for a while. So, like, to me, it's just, it's kind of wild, like how this whole situation kind of went down, but it speaks to where the Steelers feel like they are right now. Because if you kind of look at their roster, it's a little bit older in some important key spots. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey doesn't help that. Jonnu Smith is, I've seen a few people from the Steelers that we've had on the show, Nick Faribault. He was like, this is kind of Jonnu Smith's kind of a duplication of what you already have with Pat Freiermuth, but we kind of know that Art Smith likes to run 12 personnel, likes to have a guy that can catch and block. Remember, they had Jonnu Smith and Delaney Walker at the same time, and how well that helped that team be able to move the ball. Now you may be able to disguise a little bit more with this. I like this move for the Steelers, and I think that if you are going to get Aaron Rodgers, you might as well get more pieces like they have been. DK Metcalf, for one, is another one. Talking about Jonnu Smith. Get guys that can help him, but also help the other side of the ball as well.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a move also, you're talking about 12 personnel that they want to run and slow the game down. And, conference they're in, AFC North, right? No.
Right.
Yeah, North. They got the Ravens as well as the Bengals. So sometimes you're trying to keep it away from those great elite quarterbacks and slow the game down, and that way they have less possession. That's another form of defense versus a weapon like those guys are at quarterback. So yeah, maybe they are trying to say. And then you got Metcalf. I mean, so man, they're putting together some pieces. Now, how quickly can they come together and gel and play in the same sync? Now, that's a whole nother story. People act like that's just easy. That's why a lot of trades don't happen during the middle of the season, because especially like wide receivers and everything else, you have to come up with rhythm. You have to be on the same pace. It just takes time. So hopefully defensively it's always easier. But you never know, because when I watch Jalen play, he kind of plays more individualized. So I'm interested to see what his role is. Is it at corner or is it more at nickel? Because he can freelance. When I say individualized, I'm talking about he freelances a little bit when he's at corner. And if he just sticks to the call and the technique that he needs and quit looking in the backfield, I think at this point in time, he's looking for picks to make plays to validate maybe his contract. So when you get in at this point, when you're with the Steelers, to me, you just do what is asked, and then, the picks that come or opportunities will.
Yeah, I kind of look at it too. Now you're kind of a part. So for a later conversation, I was looking at the defensive pieces that the Dolphins have, and I was like, after you get past that first 11, it's a bunch of people that I've rarely have ever heard of. And so I kind of look at the Steelers team as something a little bit different. They have some good depth. They have some guys on the rise. And I kind of look at them as like, okay, well, now you're adding Jalen Ramsey to Juan Thornhill, Deshaun Elliott, who they just had an extension with. You're adding him to Darius Slay on the other side.
But where's
Joey Porter Jr.?
So where's Jalen Ramsey playing?
I guess this nickelback star, I don't know how they're going to shift it around, but I kind of feel with you is that he's going to be a chess piece. I don't know if maybe he supplants Darius Slay. I don't know really what happens because you have kind of a crowded team, right?
Yeah.
This is a team with depth. You're talking about the offensive line, the inside linebackers. Maybe there's not going to be that need for Jalen Ramsey to feel like he has to make a play because there's other guys that will also make the play for you. But sometimes it's a habit that's hard to break, right? I mean, when you got that.
Oh, I think that's innate.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I was about to say, when you got that instinct.
Yeah, that's because once it happens multiple times, you just kind of think it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's good. I really like your idea of playing him in the nickel, or star, or whatever you want to give it in the NFL. We call it nickel mostly in the NFL, not star. Star is actually a term used in college. I like him there. I think I like his aggressiveness, and it's because of where he puts his eyes all the time. And but your eyes in the backfield, being at that star, that kind of helps you a lot. He's a physical guy, even though his appearance doesn't look like it. He's an aggressive-natured player. I think that's a great fit. I would keep Slay outside as long as he hasn't shown, slight speed change there with his age.
Yeah.
Then Porter Jr. outside because those guys are long and lengthy, and Jalen's just super athletic. So. I really like that. So they're trying to shut down some guys. I mean, they are coming at. I mean, now we're talking about you got to deal with Chase and Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
All righty, okay. Well, I think we match up pretty good against those guys. So then you're talking about really it's about Lamar and buying more time because you could only cover so long with the receivers or a group of receivers they have there. And then how does Jaden, match up with the jigaboo there in the slot there from Boston College with the Ravens? What's his name again?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, yeah, who's really explosive. So, I think you're right. I think they're going all in. I think.
That's what it feels like. It's hard to say that they're not when you look at what the team is trying to do right now.
To Jackson points too, because typically trades don't happen like this. Yeah. I bet you Jalen knew long time ago.
Knew where he was going.
Right. Oh,
they just had to work it out.
Yeah, they just had to figure it all out because the Steelers don't operate on happenstance and we're going to do this in 2 or 3 years. They knew and they were just waiting to all the things we get. And Jalen knew he was going there. So, I believe that he did have a lot of time. But, when you make $25 million, I think you get somebody to do like that in a day.
And to your point, it was even reported that the deal died last week. This has been a long time rumor. So the deal, maybe already had it because he thought, oh, well, we're getting close last year. Then all of a sudden something been pulled out. So now I just have this. Maybe
players get so disappointed too. They think the trade is going to happen, and then something happens where it gets pulled, and he probably didn't think it would ever come back to fruition. Like, dang it, we were right there.
Yeah,
let's figure out something, so we can make this happen because he wanted out.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see. Remember, John Smith he had a big knee issue. They tried to say after we didn't sign him.
Yep.
So see how well he's done so far?
Yeah.
So, false narratives out there trying to, hurt someone's stock or try to re-sign them, which they didn't try to do that at all.
Well, I have my own thoughts on Jonnu Smith in particular, but real quick, I do want to talk about that Miami trade is because they are left now with Pharaoh Brown, Julian Hill, Tanner Connor, Jalen Conyers, and
Jackson Williams
and Hayden Rucci. All these are real names. Jalen Conyers is a guy that I liked at tight end for a late round pick. He's a tight end out of Texas Tech. But these are all real names. Obviously, Pharaoh Brown is probably the most well-known name out of this list. But they are, I don't know what their plan is. I mean, I guess it is just to spread it out with wide receivers. I've heard that Malik Washington has looked really good in camp. Nick Whisper-Gakine is kind of settled in at the wide receiver 5 kind of position right now. So we'll see what they lean into. But there's obviously rumors out there that they're expecting a trade at tight end. Like they're going to try to trade for a tight end. And I look at this team, though, because it comes down to a lot of the conversation in Titans land has now shifted to like, what could the Titans get for Okonkwo to part with him? And here's how I feel, and I don't know how you feel. Unless it's a third-round pick in this and I know that sounds like a lot, but bear with me here. A third-round pick in this year's draft, I don't know if they have a trade that would make me want to move off of Chick because I want every available weapon for Cam Ward heading into this 2025 year. And the reason I wouldn't take less than a third is because I value that much. I don't value necessarily Chig that much, but I value making sure that Cam Ward, his rookie year, has all the weapons available to him as possible. Because if you take him away, that falls down to Gunnar Helm and DMR, maybe Thomas Odukoya to try to fill that void. And I know that Chig has his haters out there.
And Wiley?
I don't think Wiley's making the team. I think Thomas Odukoya would make this team before Josh Wiley. That's where I'm at. I just don't think that any of these guys can give you right now initially what Chig can give you.
Oh, man.
So I'm kind of against the idea that the idea, because I've seen some people talk about it in Bucks chat, just take whatever for Chig.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, I would probably lean more to you. Here's one thing that would make me lean the other way, and that would be trading him. Is his contract up?
Yeah.
His contract is up after the season. So I'm going to lose him, and I know I'm not going to re-sign him. So is it feasible that I could get something for him? If I can get a third round for him, I think I have to seriously consider.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, a third round.
I would seriously consider a fourth, because he was, a fifth round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would consider it fourth round too. I get what you're saying. I want all the weapons for Ward too, no doubt about it. So he could have his best chance of having success in his first season. But I think also we got to look at the big picture. We are still building pieces here. So if we can get a fourth round pick that we will need, we can get some middle round guys. Look at the fourth round guys we got this year.
Yeah,
that's
true.
So
a
I
fourth
think
round pick, I could be on board.
Yeah, I would consider it. It is no doubt about it. I like Chig's skill set. I know everybody here feels like he underachieves, but he's still what he caught 50 balls or targets or whatever it was.
He's also still a fifth round pick, to your point. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, people underestimate what that means.
That all leaves once you get in the league and you prove that you are a good player. And we could say what you want to say about him, but he is a good player. Now, whether he's an elite player or starter or a move guy, those are questions there, but he has production in this league. So now we're asking, so here's what happens here. He went fifth round, and now we're asking him to be a first round production. Right. See, that's not what's going to happen. The best production you're going to get is probably third round production. And I would say third round production for a player like him is about 50 balls. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much where he almost got to consistently over the last 2 or 3 years. So that's what he is. Is he a great player? No. Is he inconsistent? Absolutely. Yeah. But is he a proven player in this league? Yes.
He's also been a guy that's kind of been thrusted into a role that maybe he wasn't even ready for real early because of injuries and stuff like that. I mean, he played a lot of snaps his first 3 seasons over the course. He played the most snaps of any tight end in the league last year. And again, we're talking about getting the return on a late day 3 draft pick. I think they got it. Yeah. Now, again, I know everybody's wanting like you said, an elite tight end. And listen, I think that Jonnu Smith is more impactful during his time for the Tennessee Titans than Chig has been impactful in his time here. But that is not to say that Chig has not been a pretty good tight end from a reception standpoint. Mm-hmm. He just hasn't had the touchdowns. He hasn't had the consistency. And maybe there's a difference because of what he's being asked to do in certain roles. Maybe it's a change in all these offensive philosophies and offensive coordinators, new tight end coaches. I don't know. But I'm not going to give away Chig for chump change. This ain't Treylon Burks. If you want to trade Treylon Burks for like a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick, I understand. I wouldn't do it, but maybe I would, depending on the situation or how I'm feeling that day. But for me, I think that Chig is better on this team than off this team. I don't understand why you just want to cut your nose off to spite your face if you are a Titans fan and want to get considerably worse at tight end. Because Mike Herndon had asked on Twitter in a tweet, and he goes, I'm pulling it up real quick. Not saying you trade Chig just to trade him. He's a useful player, but his contract is up after 2025, and they just drafted him. All valid points. If Miami wants him and is willing to give up a decent pick, I'd listen. Would you get drastically different results if you played DMR in the Chig role? And I would say absolutely. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that DMR is a lesser player than Chig. And I think that has been proven over the years that Chig, as much as people, do not like him, he has been a good and serviceable player for this team. And there is a definitive difference. And you will get drastically different results if Chig is not on this team from your tight end position.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and theoretically, if we were a playoff contending team, I think I would be, probably not. But just because, the team is expected to be, not a playoff team, I think I'm trying to still accumulate picks. And fourth round value is pretty good for a guy that's fifth round and that will be leaving. So I probably would lean more towards trading him, but I'm definitely not going to give him away.
Yeah.
No. I'm not. I'm talking about sixth, seventh. If they're starting at fifth, I would like, okay, at least I'm going to get what I got for him, but I want more because he's proven in this league. So I would think fourth round. And I don't know how to do all the valuing of what a player is, but I would think he would get higher than what he came out as.
I think he'd get higher than what Tennessee Titans fans think he could.
Yeah.
And I will say this, because I was asked this question by
He had a lot
Stoney.
of drops in practice, never a lot of drops in game. Now, he's had some games where he had drops, but that was, a couple years ago. So, I think a lot of people were very critical because they were, critical drops. They were in moments where it kept the chains moving and then, oh, man. And then, the team also isn't very good. One thing I can say, though, about Jonnu Smith, when he had to become the guy after Delaney was no longer on the team, he rose.
He's an impact player.
And Chig, to a certain extent, hasn't risen to the best he can be in this league and on this team. So I think that gives me pause to say he's had plenty of time to do that. So I would say definitely fourth round pick.
I don't think that Cam Ward is necessarily going to put. What's the best way to put it? Everybody's been talking about breakout year for Chig ever since we've gotten him. After his first season, high hopes were placed on Chig that though he never met other people's expectations and hopes of him. And I'm sure he hasn't met his own expectations. I'm not sure how much Cam is going to help him, rise around to maybe somewhere in between the high expectations Titans fans have had and where he's been. But I do think that Chig is much better on this team than not having him on this team, if that makes sense. Because to me, it's just a loss unless you get a fourth or third round pick. I could probably be talking to a fourth round pick, but I then think that, man, everybody talks about a tight end is a quarterback's best friends, and I just feel like you downgraded that position pretty considerably. Maybe not for the long haul this year, but you're putting in Gunnar Helm to be the starter right away. I mean, maybe.
Well, you said he was going to have more catches.
I mean, maybe by the end of the year,
if you eliminate a player, he's definitely going to be.
But I mean, how comfortable is everybody with that? And are they going to be comfortable with the growing pains of having to go through that and kind of leaving Cam Ward a little bit, maybe precariously hanging in the middle of the field without a proper tight end? I don't know.
What if they feel like that Chig is stunning the growth of Gunnar Helm? Because he's not one of our guys that we drafted.
Yeah, that is true. Nobody here at this administration is tied to him.
Right.
Not even, that was a John Robinson through and through. So we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back. We'll also get to the phones. We'll get to Grumpy, who's been waiting patiently as well. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Man, life is full. Work, family, meetings, holidays, vacations, and somehow I'm supposed to squeeze in the gym. I don't have the hours, enough hours in the day to do some training. I want to feel better in my clothes, but surgery? Oh, no, not for me, not for me anymore. I just want something that works fast. Enter M-Sculpt Neo at Edge Peptide Therapy. 30 minutes, no downtime, real results. M-Sculpt Neo is the most advanced body sculpting technology available, merging fat reduction with muscle building in one effortless session. No surgery, no downtime, just results that speak for themselves. M-Sculpt Neo is your secret weapon, building muscle and burning fat faster than traditional workouts alone. It's like doing 1,000,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. And who can do that? Well, now you can with M-Sculpt Neo without breaking a sweat. So when you book in June, you get 2 free sessions. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We've been asking what piece of Titans souvenir or piece of Titans history that you would want for your memorabilia collection. Easy for me to say. And we've had Grumpy from Ashland City waiting on the line for 27 minutes. So, Grumpy, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, Blaine, Zach, how's it going, guys?
Going good. How are you?
What's going on?
Doing good, doing good.
You're not grumpy today, though, are you?
I'm always grumpy, man. How you think I got my name?
Thought you were happy you called in.
I am. I'm happy I called in. I'm happy to be talking to you and Zach. Yeah, I'm happy to be talking to you guys.
Cool.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. What piece of Titans history would you want in your collection?
I would love the ball that got thrown in the Music City Miracle.
There you go. That's a popular one. I mean, obviously, Music City Miracle, probably one of the biggest moments in history for the Tennessee Titans. But, yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I have a lot of memorabilia. I collect and, I sell and stuff like that, just online, fiddle farting around. But, I have a lot of memorabilia from the Titans. I mean, I'm actually a Cincinnati Bengals fan, have been all my life. No offense. But it's, growing up in Tennessee, we didn't have a team here. So the closest team would have been Atlanta Falcons. And I'm just not a Falcons fan, so Cincinnati was my team, and the Icky Shuffle just done it for me.
I was just about to ask you about the Icky Shuffle.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What about Carl Pickens?
I still go to Tennessee. Well, Carl Pickens. Carl Pickens. What about Ken Anderson? Boomer Esiason.
Oh, yeah, that's when I was a young buck. But
yeah. That was the team, man. I was surprised when we went to the Super Bowl because, honestly, being a Bengals fan all my life, I never thought I'd see the day we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Corey Dillon was a load, man. He was pretty good power back, man. He was I think underrated.
Corey Dillon was very underrated. I think if he would have went somewhere else, I think he would have had a better career in football, honestly.
He's one of the toughest backs I tackle.
There you go. We appreciate it, Grumpy.
I put him right up there with Eddie George.
Yeah, see, power back.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Grumpy, for that. A couple more in the chat. We got Landon Wortham, who wants Vince Young shoulder pads that he threw into the stands back when it was LP Field.
Somebody has those.
Yeah, someone does have those somewhere.
Oh, yeah, somebody's got it. What about this? Is this one odd? Tyrone Calico's ACL?
Yeah, he wants his ACL.
He tore it twice, right?
Yeah. He wants his
That's
ACLs.
tough.
But why do you want the good ACLs or the bad ACLs that got torn?
Or do you want the actual the real ACL?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they need an ACL?
Maybe they need them. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want his.
I don't know if that's the one you want to go with.
Bustin' Diamond says, give me the game-worn Vince Young jersey from the comeback against the Giants. That's a good one. I like that one.
Giants and Arizona was good.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's some right there. When we come back, because we're getting up towards the break, never mind. I was just told I can go for 3 minutes. So there we go.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to talk about the WNBA. They're doing their expansion.
We're going to figure out where we, they should trade the Titan.
Oh, right.
The Chig.
Okay, so I'm,
Finish it up.
Yeah, finish it up. I forgot. Because we were talking about at the break, obviously trading for Chig, and we're, how we're kind of for it, but kind of against it. Depends on the pick. But as far as the Dolphins are concerned, they are in the market for a tight end. And the two tight ends I can remember heading into the NFL draft that were up on the trading block were Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles and Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
Now, I do wonder where those two particular teams, the Eagles and the Ravens, stand. But if you're looking to spend a third or fourth round pick, I would assume that instead of going to Chig, you'd be looking at these guys. So I would assume those would be the top two names for discussions for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, I have a curveball.
Uh-oh.
His name is Mr. Pitts. Kyle Pitts.
That's a good
Who
one.
went to Florida,
Yeah.
who's under, whatever you want to call it, he has not performed at a high level there with the Falcons.
Yeah.
I think, hey, man, why not? If you want to give up a third round, he was a first-round pick, absolutely.
He would fit in really well with that offense.
Because he's a pass receiving.
Yep.
Tight end, I think he got caught in. That's why Arthur Smith didn't trade for him, because he's not that total tool piece there. He don't want to block. His mindset, he's a wide receiver. So I was just going to throw his name into the pod to see if maybe the Falcons would probably be open to that. I don't know. What do you think? And even the Dolphins, by the way, too.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins would be all in on some Kyle Pitts. That's a really good one. I think that Dallas Goedert makes a lot of sense. Mark Andrews probably doesn't, for the way, because this team kind of feels like it's kind of going through like a mini rebuild on the fly. A lot of pieces, a lot of younger pieces on Miami. But Dallas Goedert does both. And he's not as old as Mark Andrews, but at least I don't think so. I mean, I guess Dallas Goedert's been in the league for a while now. But I also look at Kyle Pitts. I really like that from just from a fantasy football kind of perspective. It would be fun, right? You got Jalen Waddle. You have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Kyle Pitts. You got Devon A. Chen back there with Jalen Wright as his backup in that backfield for Miami. That's a lot of speed and a lot of athleticism.
And you said NWI fifth. I thought he was more like the third.
His camp's not going very well.
His camp's not going very well.
Yeah, so far. I mean, we'll see how his offseason's going.
I heard his camp was going really good.
I've heard the opposite. I've heard that Malik Washington is outshining him, which is the guy that wanted the Titans to draft over Jaquan Jackson.
Oh, well, he was a drafted player, really.
Yeah. But it'll be very interesting to see. But, I mean, even if he is your backup X guy, I mean, that's still another guy to have on the rotation.
Well, that's what he is.
Yeah. I just, I look at it and I'm thinking, man, that would be a fun offense. You may not win a lot of games, but at least you've given, kind of like what we talked about with Cam Ward, you've given Tua even more weaponry to exploit. And Mike McDaniel is a head coach that I feel like would have a lot of fun with all that. We'll talk more about this. We'll also get to your phone calls. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll also read some more of your Titans memorabilias from the F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. What piece of Titans memorabilia would you like to have for your collection? This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
It is 101. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Jackson Williams. In the NFL, a blockbuster trade today between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers send safety Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 fifth-round pick in exchange for corner Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 seventh from Miami. The Steelers will also sign Jonnu Smith to a one-year contract extension worth $12 million. The NHL draft has come and gone as the Preds selected center Brady Martin 5th overall, and on Sunday, the Preds traded longtime center Colton Sissons and defenseman Jeremy Lawson for defenseman Nicholas Hague and a conditional third-round pick in the 2027 draft. Hague signed a 4-year, $22 million extension with Nashville in this deal. And Electronic Arts has announced that they will be rebooting their popular college basketball video game series. It is currently scheduled to release in 2028. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. What piece of Titans memorabilia would you love to have if you were given the choice? All throughout Titans history, we got a couple of different ones. Harold Hockett in the F&M Bank Chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. I definitely want the pyro box that caught on fire during that pregame entrances. That's a
Week
good one.
2, 2019 against the Colts.
Yep, that's a good one right there.
Right there, man.
OG says, "Let me get the cleats worn by Hainsworth when he stepped on, I believe, is Andre Giroud's head.
Gerard. Yeah.
Gerard, yeah,
Yeah.
as a Cowboys player, right? Or was he? Yeah, was he still playing for the Cowboys at the time?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. We did get a question from KC Jones, who says, ask Blaine, what is the coolest piece that you actually own from your career?
A Pro Bowl helmet with all the Hall of Famers that were on there. So from playing in the Pro Bowl.
There you go.
Yeah. That's probably the coolest because you just kind of go back. I got our Super Bowl jersey with everybody's signature as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that probably off the top, that. Probably.
There you go. We were talking earlier, 615-737-1045. You want to answer that question? We were talking earlier about the trade, and we're going to get to Nate's call about Chigakonkwo here in just a second. But we were talking about how we kind of like the matchup of what the Steelers are trying to do. And so I started looking, because it's obviously Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. 3 very good corners to have on your team. So I wanted to look at the Baltimore Ravens, and I said, okay, well, they have DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers are their 3 wide receivers. Mm-hmm. Man, it's going to make it pretty easy if everybody stays healthy for the Steelers and no real signs of decline in age to really kind of stop Derrick Henry if you're the Steelers. Now, it's sometimes easier said than done, but you're now more equipped to maybe put one extra person in the box.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Really love that matchup. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought they were trying to do because you're playing against, that's the team to beat.
Right.
And, to take them down, you got to go man to man. It's not like the receivers outside the slot guy there, Zay Flowers. I think the other ones can be managed. They can't beat you by themselves, and Derrick Henry can. We all know that. And so, they're going to go all my hands on deck.
And like you said, you got Chase, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Their third wide receiver is Andre Yoshevitz. Mm-hmm. He's a very athletic guy, but you talk about slowing him down because their run game is still just Chase Brown, Zach Moss, and Samaje Perine. Not a bunch of world beaters. Good players in their own right for sure, but they're not Derrick Henry. So now you provide yourself more flexibility when you play the Bengals.
Yeah.
But the other one is the Browns, right? Here's their top 3 wide receivers with their quarterbacks, mind you. Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, and Deontay Johnson with either Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett throwing the ball, maybe Shadur Sanders or a rookie, and their running backs are Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, but they're both rookies. But this provides you a lot of flex. I don't know. I'm kind of talking myself into placing some Steelers first place AFC North bets right now. It's kind of what I'm feeling.
But, they still have Lamar, so he still is a weapon, not only throwing, but running, of course. So.
Yeah.
But at least you limit Henry, and you got to be able to control the run game. And if you kind of slow him down, then now you can focus on Lamar.
Yeah. A couple more answers. Daniel Dozier on Facebook at the F&M Bank chat says, I want Bud Adams' suit he wore when he flipped the bird. I was surprised that we've taken this long to get to that answer. That was a good one. Rhonda,
the baby blue one?
Yeah, the baby blue one.
Yeah.
Rhonda and Patrick Bird against the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. Rhonda and Patrick Bird says on YouTube, I want Eddie's cleats from the Super Bowl. That run to get in for a touchdown will always be one of my favorite Eddie drives. He was digging and pushing his way for that touchdown.
The will to score.
Yeah, there it was.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nate, who wants to talk about Chig. Nate, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going good. How are you?
Yeah, love the show, man. Yeah, but, man, I think it would be crazy to trade somebody that's, done had production in the league for a rookie, man. I mean, you gotta see, we don't know what this rookie is, man. I'm pretty sure he's pretty good and all that, but Chig he didn't produce, man. He didn't produce. So I don't think we should trade him. And another thing, man, I'm pretty sure Cam Ward gonna be a pretty good player, man. I liked him at Miami, and I like him now, man. But all this Steve McNair talk, that is just absurd. First of all, he ain't nowhere near as big as Steve McNair. Steve was a big guy, man. I seen Steve in person. And, he was just that naturally Mississippi strong. So I think all this Cam Ward, Steve McNair comparison talk ought to, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Well, I think we kind of both agree with both those points.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. A little too early for the McNair comps and all that kind of stuff. And I get that there's a few plays that kind of remind you of like Steve McNair when he's escaping the pocket and making throws and all that kind of stuff. But I just think they're just two totally different players, it feels like to me.
I don't. Steve McNair was, he was like a running back. He was just as strong, or not stronger than Eddie George. And he's talking about that country strength.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. It was kind of amazing how, you talking to other teams and guys would be asking me, in the off season, like, hey man, what's it like tackling McNair? I'm like, man, I've never tackled him, so I have no idea. But it sure looks like it's real difficult.
Doesn't look fun.
So, hey man, I'm hoping that never happens. I know it's not gonna happen in practice.
Yeah.
So I said, you better, have the hard hat. I said, as well as Eddie George. So McNair, man, he was a special power strength guy. And it's funny, you see him in a weight room and he's not even like pumping up the most weight. That comes the realization that some guys need to see that it's not always about how much you're pumping in the weight room. Sometimes it's just about your will and what you want to accomplish. And he grew up on a farm, so he was belling hay and all that, because I had general conversations with him about it. I said, man, you're not even that strong in a weight room considering how you play. And he said, oh, it's from just belling hay.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay. I said, how long did you do that? He said, for a real long time. So like he had done it since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how he was looking at. That grown man strength that he had was totally different than weight room strength. Yeah.
I think our listeners probably get it more than most, but like some people just don't understand country strong and what it means.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah. Let's go to Joe.
He was country tough, too.
Yeah, he was, for sure. No doubt about that. You can't question his toughness. Let's go to Joe, who wants to talk about Titans memorabilia. Joe, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, love the show. You know what I want from memorabilia? I want Big Boss Man Bert's jar of dirt.
You want to take his jar of dirt from him? He just got that.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I think that he gets to be kind of a bully once in a while, so I think he deserves a little bit back. Yeah, we need his jar of dirt, man.
And taking his jar of dirt from the Titan Stadium that's given to him. Oh man, that's cold-blooded, but I like it, Joe. We'll have to pass that along. I think he's still here at the roaming around the halls. We'll pass that along to him.
All right.
Thanks, Joe. Man, taking the dirt that Burke Nihill brought him last year at one of the camps. It's from the old stadium. The dirt from the old stadium, I think. Or no, I guess groundbreaking of the new stadium. Is that right? I messed up on that.
I have to admit, I did not tell you guys because I didn't know how I wanted to present it. But from that year, they changed out the chairs of the stadium, and I have one of the chairs.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was really unique. They did. I don't know how the other players are offered as well. I don't know how many.
Now, how do you present it? Do you have it like somewhere in like your man cave where people can actually sit in it, or is it like, is it just in the garage now or something?
It's just in the garage, really. I mean, because it's not all the way put together. So
gotcha.
I have to put it together.
Oh man, so you got it. It's like almost a Lego set.
Yeah,
you got to put it together to be able to use it. That's kind of wild. Let's go to Steve, who wants to talk about his memorabilia. Steve, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. I was just going to say, I have a Super Bowl ball that they gave out to all the season ticket holders when we went to the Super Bowl. And Frank Wycheck's my favorite player of all times. He autographed it, and I'd really like to get Kevin Dyson and Lorenzo Neal to autograph it, so I'd have all three of the
that would be cool.
The players.
Yeah. That would be a good one right there, Steve. We really appreciate it. Yeah, that's a cool one right there.
We definitely can get Dyson to sign if he sends it to the station.
Yeah.
Then I don't know how soon you get it back, but whenever Low Daddy comes into town, I gotta.
Well, he'll be I guess for Titans talkbacks. When that starts back up.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about Lorenzo. To get Lorenzo on it, what he told me, he'll be here maybe at the end of the summer. Ooh. But it's kind of, you never know with Low Daddy.
Remember when you thought that he was at the golf tournament and he didn't text you?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said there's no way he would have texted me. Now, man, it was pretty tight because we had some battles, not only as teammates, but even when he was at other teams.
Yeah.
So for him to finally be it, I'm sure he felt the same way. We never had a conversation about it, but like, hey man, I'm glad I ain't banging with you, and I'm glad I'm not banging with you.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people asked you about Steve McNair, you at least had an answer for what it's like for Lorenzo Neal.
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah. I was like, nah, he not here. He would have texted because me and him had a long history there of discussions, even in college as well. I played at Fresno, Ball State. We played at Fresno. So he was a tailback then.
Jackson, what you got?
I have an official statement from Robert Walsh on regarding his dirt.
Okay, this is towards Joe, who wanted to steal his jar of dirt.
If he wanted to steal my beloved dirt, that's fine. He's just going to have a few more holes than he walked in with. End quote. That is the official statement from Robert Walsh.
That means
what kind of holes you talking about?
He's threatening violence.
He's punching through someone, I guess. But Bert's country strong.
Okay, when I hear holes, I didn't know if he was talking about something else.
I don't know. Jonas Atkins, just real quick, says the ball from when Henry made the 99-yard touchdown run, or the ball when Marcus caught his own touchdown against the Chiefs.
I love that one.
Two good ones right there. Yeah. The OG says the football Rob Baronis kicked for 60 yards to beat the Colts at home. He goes, awesome. I was at that game. That's a really good one. So there you go. When we come back, we're going to get to Darren and we're going to get to Scott and their choices for memorabilia. We'll continue that discussion, but we'll also talk about, hey, what if the Titans O-line is just like barely inside the top 20? What if they're like 19th? Is that a bad thing? Do they meet expectations? Probably not, but we'll talk about that when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Store. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're talking about what piece of Titans memorabilia from Titans history would you like to have in your collection? We're going to go straight to the phones. We're going to go to Darren. Darren, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
A quick story, kind of a cool memory. When my son was little, I used to live in East Nashville. I believe it was LP Field at that time. During the summer, I would take him down there, and he liked to ride his bike around the concourse of the outside area of the stadium. We were down there one day, and they were doing some seating renovations, and we ran across a couple of construction guys taking their breaks next to this dumpster, and they were throwing all the old seats into this dumpster. And I asked the guys, like, hey, man, do you mind if I snag, like, a chair? And he let me have it. And now I have a Titans old stadium seat in my living room now. So it's pretty cool memory to have. So I got a little piece of the Titans history in my house forever. So that's awesome.
Is it?
I appreciate.
Well, before you go, because I got a couple questions here. So is it framed or in a box, or do you have it?
No, it's the actual fold down chair.
So you actually can sit in it.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit in it. Yeah, I mounted it. It's not in my living room. I mounted it in like the bonus room. But
okay, I was about to say, because if it's in your living room, my next question was going to be, how did your significant other allow that?
Well, I am single, but I do have more couth than to put it in my living room. So if I don't want to stay single the rest of my life, I guess. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was about to say that one was going to be. Appreciate you, Darren. That one was going to be a question because when he said living room, he talked about having a kid, and I'm like, man, how did he get that one by his significant other right there? Because there's no way that would be in my living room with my wife. My wife would definitely not allow that for sure.
Mine either.
I mean, that'd be crazy, but good for him. That's awesome. That's a good story. Scott, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yeah, well, I had a couple, but it sounds like you guys already talked about the Mariota's touchdown pass to himself. But anything from the late, great Frank Wycheck that he maybe signed, I would love. And then the other one, I was thinking of Logan Ryan's interception of Tom Brady, that ball.
That's a good one.
That was a pretty good one.
All right, I appreciate it. Scott, that's a good one right there. We have Kyle Vandenbosch's red contacts from Taylor in the F&M Bank chat on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. Casey says the mic that Mike Keith said standing on the Arrowhead at Arrowhead, which is talking about when Ryan Suckup made the game-winning field goal standing on the Arrowhead in Arrowhead back in, I think that was 2019 or 2020, sometime around there. A lot of people really want the pads that Vince Young threw in the stands. Some people are saying allegedly threw in the stands, but I can tell you, he threw them in the stands. There ain't no allegedly about it.
He did.
Yep. We got another one for the cleats that Albert Hainsworth wore. That's from Willie Harris. Here's a unique one.
Stomping on that guy's head.
Yeah. Here's a unique one. Spaniard on the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live says, I would love to have the last ball Al Del Greco, easy for me to say for whatever reason, last kicked for some points. So just the one that he kicked last that made it through the uprights is the one that he would want. That was a pretty unique one right there.
Del Greco.
Yeah, that one was pretty unique. I tell you a unique piece. I own two unique pieces of Titans memorabilia. I have one of Chance Warmack's cleats for whatever reason. It's signed by a bunch of other players. You know why it is?
Because you're Alabama fan.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't get it. Someone gave it to me. Someone didn't want it gave it to me.
No, they got it for you.
And then there was a bunch of other players on there. I can't remember all the players that are on there. And then there is a printed out picture. Remember when Chuck Cecil flipped off the ref? When he was a defensive coordinator, I think. And I got a framed picture of that with his signature on there. So I got that. Those are the two most random ones I got.
The most random thing I have a pair of Darius Raynaud's cleats.
That is a random one. That's now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Darius Raynaud's the one at the home opener or the opener against Pittsburgh Steelers where he goes out of the end zone and receives the kick, then goes back in. Was that Darius Raynaud?
That was Darius Raynaud.
Yeah.
Didn't he also return one for a touchdown?
He did.
Yeah.
So
was he the last one?
We got to talk about the good.
Was he the last one to return one for a touchdown?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know if it was
No,
Darius
Jennings did in
It was-
2019.
yeah.
Jennings?
Darius Jennings.
Darius Jennings was the last one.
Oh, I always miss that on the quiz.
Yeah. Someone wants Charlie Whitehurst's clipboard when he was the backup quarterback. It was 2016. Gosh, man, that feels so long ago. When Ryan Suckup made that field goal. Man, that's nuts.
Early right.
Let's see. So D.O. on Twitter says that his fire pit ring is from the boilers at the Titan Stadium. So I guess he handcrafted his own. So I guess they must have replaced some boilers inside the stadium, and I guess he got his hands on them and turned it into a fire pit ring.
No idea what boiler he's talking about.
Yeah, I would just assume like a water heater or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. See if he can provide us some extra clarification. Someone else on Twitter did reply. Do Baby 32 said what about the blocked field goal try by KC in Nissan Stadium for the win? So I guess he wants maybe gosh, man, his name just escaped me. It just left me. Was that wasn't Kalen Reed that blocked it? It was some good special teamer at the time that blocked that. So I guess he wants the guy that's gloves that blocked the kick. Let's go to Bobby, who wants to talk about his favorite piece. Bobby, what you got?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I would love to have the ball from Steve McNair's first touchdown pass at Nissan Stadium.
There you go. That's a unique one.
That'd be against the Bengals.
Yeah.
We won 30, I think it was 36-35 in a scorcher of a heat.
Joshua Kalu, that was the guy that.
Oh, Kalu. Yes, I forgot about Kalu. Yes.
Yeah. That one, so it was crazy is that that particular game, I was over at, I think, the Bobby Hotel up on their roof, and you could just hear it go crazy when they blocked that field goal. I mean, like it was from across the river, one of the loudest moments I've ever heard from Titan Stadium.
Got Mr. Monday Night, the 3 interceptions against the Saints.
Yeah.
That was big time.
Richie G says, I would like the pin Miss Amy and J-Rob gave to AJ to sign the trade. I guess the pin to sign the contract to do the trade is what he wants.
I don't know if the players ever.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works. I think he probably had his own pin somewhere else. Maybe it's all electronic too, by the way.
AJ's plane ticket to Philadelphia.
There you go. Scott, what you got?
Yeah, I want to get I want that wooden roller that Javon Curse had between his pinky and his thumb when he was on the front page of the Sports Illustrated.
It was a splint? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the ruler. He had a 12-inch ruler in between.
Oh, yeah, that shows how big his hands were.
I still got that Sports Illustrated and had him sign it somewhere about his freshman or rookie year. So I'd like to have that ruler.
Okay,
there you go. That's a unique one. I mean, sometimes everything's a little bit more personal as we get on. I think that's a cool one to want. Let's go to Eric before we transfer to some offensive line talk. Eric, wrong one. That's
Hello?
on me.
Hello.
Hey, Eric.
What's going on,
guys? Hey, guys. First of all, I want to wish you, if I don't get to talk again, a happy 4th of July this weekend.
Oh, yeah, to you the same.
Hey, guys, I thought about several. Definitely mine involves Derrick Henry. I would want the ball after the Thursday night game he ran against Jacksonville, where he ran all over Jacksonville. I would definitely want the touchdown ball from that, because he usually has some big games against Jacksonville. You could take a couple of games where he ran against Jacksonville, but the Thursday night game, because I was there for that one. Just the way he just ran all over him. He had the huge night against Jacksonville, that Thursday night game.
There you go. That's a good one, too.
So guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Eric. So with all that being said, what are the top 3 to then pit them against it? We know the Music City Miracle's up there, so it's got to be one of the ones. But what are the other 2 you'd say would be in the top 3 of the ones that we heard of that was kind of more duplicate, or you think are at the top?
I know this is going to be kind of weird, but I really like the ruler one. I thought that was unique, something, that's also personal to him, but something also nobody else came up with. Yeah. So I kind of like the ruler one.
For a repeat, the VY pads. It's a piece of Titans history. It's funny, and it's just a wild moment. Like, I've never heard of a player doing that since then or before then. So
that was just like a section or 2 over from me when that happened. It was wild.
Were you there?
You could see it fly in the stands.
Oh, so it's not alleged.
No, it's not alleged. It is real. Yeah, we already said it wasn't allegedly.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, he did it. I've seen it.
Yeah, I did too. It was real. It was obvious.
And we're all like, did he do that to give it to a family member? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, nobody
in the
knew
stands.
the reason at the time.
Was his jersey still on it?
Yes.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think so. He probably had to pay for that too.
That's many beers ago, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Deduct. Yeah. The one that stands out to me, and I would, it's more personal, like because of history of watching running backs growing up and seeing Tony Dorsett run the 99-yard and thinking that would never be broken. Derrick Henry, I'd love to get those cleats. I bet they're in the NFL, history somewhere, Hall of Fame or something. The 99 yards when he ran, because that against elite players is really hard to do. Yeah. And man, he did something that now he's in the record books forever. Yeah, I mean that was pretty cool. Yeah, and before he played for the Titans, of course.
Yeah, there you go. I know that was a pretty cool one. I would agree. Just real quick. Warren Sharp puts out a book every year called Sharp's Football Preview, where he does deep dives. We're talking like 9 or 10 pages on every other team, over 560 pages in the book. It's insane how much detail goes into it. It's something that I've read now the last probably 5 years. Maybe
still
longer
reading?
than that. Yeah, still reading it. It comes out tomorrow.
No, just kidding.
But he does a little bit of previews here and there, and throws them out on Twitter. And he says what they're projecting based on who the Tennessee Titans have added and basically how the performance maybe last year may carry over. The Tennessee Titans will be the 19th best pass blocking unit. So my first question to you upon hearing that what would be your, I guess, reaction if that were to come true? Because I would be like, oh man, they really didn't live up to what they kind of thought. This not only includes the free agents and the players and the strategy to move over J.C. Latham, but man, Bill Callahan also didn't live up to what he did. That would be my initial reaction if at the end of the year they were 19th. Just based on that.
Is that what he was projecting?
Yeah.
I thought he was projecting more. This is what theyll be going in.
Well, I think he's projecting. I think that's kind of same for him.
End, right. Actually, I probably would say, I would say that if they are in the middle of the road, 15, I think that is the ceiling. For me, I think just because, you got a lot of things you take into factors here. I was doing some research and, you got people's PFF grades, you got Sharp and all these different, guys who do a lot of research, sacks allowed, run blocking efficiency. Mm-hmm. And so I just a mix of all of that. And I go, well, man, if they finish in the middle of the road, and you got the development also of J.C. Latham and Skoronski. How much better will they get in years 2 and 3, right, or 4? Yeah, and then the mix of chemistry, which you all know I'm real big on, because you just people just think you could put guys together and just think it's going to work. That's why it takes chemistry, and you are working at one, especially at offensive linemen. So I think if they can get to the tier of like in the 15 range, I think that is pretty daggone good, because that means you're running the football. That means you're passing. You may not be elite at either one of them, but you are going to be really good. So I think, especially after what's happened over the last 2 or 3 years since 2023 or 22. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's good. I 19th is acceptable for me. Actually, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, well, that's pretty good, because I'm comparing it to how bad things have become, because they were run blocking 29th last year, and then 52 sacks, and then they finished 30th in the sacks given up. So that there says if you finish 19 with Zeitler and Moore added and the development of the first rounders, they should be there. You're hoping it comes together sooner than later, but you never know.
My first instinct was, when I first saw this, was like, man,
it could push the top 15.
That would suck, kind of. Man. But then I started diving into it and started wanting to look in some stuff. It's like, how big of a difference is being 19th from being 31st or 32nd, right? Like how big of a jump that is, and it's a big, it's a big jump, right? I mean, we're talking about 13 spots. You're jumping up from 31st to 32nd in most of these categories, and jumping up to 19th. So I wanted to look at how maybe that would have affected their year last year. So I looked at the teams that were in various categories 19th, and I said, well, how would that have changed their 2024 season? Well, instead of according to PFF, the offensive line themselves are only responsible for 32 sacks based on what they could decipher. Now, some of those sacks left over, those 20 other sacks can be on the quarterback. They could be on tight ends or running backs, or they can be on coverage sacks, right? So that's what they're saying. That would drop down, if they were the 19th best, to about 24 sacks. So that's 8 sacks difference. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 8 maybe drives that don't stall. Or maybe there's a touchdown thrown in there. Like 8 sacks can be a game changer and swing things from your offensive line. Total pressures would go from 192 to 167. By the way, 192, a 31.2% pressure rate allowed by the offensive line. That is insane, by the way.
Yeah, that pressure rate was up there.
Yeah, that is 4th highest in the NFL last year, which is crazy. And I wanted to look at
when you hear that, do you think it's more the players, or do you think it's Bill Callahan?
I think there's blame for both. And I know that sounds like a little bit fence sitting. I do think the players that they had were bad. But again, I go back to those were the players that everybody agreed on through some form or another. So I can't just shift, the blame from Bill Callahan and Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan. Those guys all had input. So it's hard for me to shift blame that, hey, you guys brought in Leroy Watson because you worked with them in Cleveland. You guys, kept around NPF. You guys were good with NPF. Leroy Watson, Jalen Duncan, and John Njoku as your right tackles. That is a them decision.
And the retiree.
Now, do blame the players for not being good.
Yeah.
And they definitely didn't play up to their level of maybe expectations. But again, got to put blame on the coaches for not seeing this early and getting out ahead of it, or seeing it at all. Because, they didn't see it at all for whatever reason by their actions, right? That's how I would put the blame. Yeah. Just real quick, they were the 19th best run blocking unit, and I'm using yards before contact because I think that's a good measure of like them creating space and all that kind of stuff. The Tennessee Titans were 31st, by the way, in the league, with 0.92 yards on average before contact. They would have went from 1,032 rushing yards to 1,194 rushing yards. So that's a big jump in yards if you were to be the 19th place. And again, all of this to say, even if they're the 19th, it may not seem sexy because it's 19th. It doesn't sound like a good number, but it actually would be marketed improvement over what they were last year. And kind of to your point, there's really not that much a difference statistically between the 15th and the 19th, but there is a big one between 19th and 32.
Yeah, when I first think about the Titans O-line and what they project to be, I look at pressure rate. I know that was a number that you brought up a lot last year, and the pressure rate. But then opposite of that, you say, okay, how quickly were they getting rid of the ball? The Titans were getting rid of the ball on average just as quick as most. And so then that lends me it's the offensive line. That there tells me everything, because I think they were 2.78 pressure rate, or as far as getting rid of the ball, 2.78 or so, if I can recall. And then the offensive line was giving up, even when they threw the ball that quick, more pressures than most teams. So that to me tells you where the issue is, and it was all offensive line. So and Latham, and by the way, Moore, even looking at his stats at the Steelers, he was giving up quick pressure rates, considering compared to all his cohorts as far as other guys in the National Football League.
The Tennessee Titans had the 11th quickest time to throw.
See? Was it 2.78, right?
2.73. So, hey, that's pretty good. 2.78,
and that's what I'm getting at. And they still, where were they at with the pressure rate, though? They were still giving up a lot of pressure. They were getting rid of the ball fast.
Exactly.
So it's all O-line.
Yeah.
And so how much do you then put it on the quarterback?
There you go. There you go. There's another question I want to ask you on regards to pressure, sacks, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll also get to Linda, who's waiting patiently, who has her Titans memorabilia question. We'll do both those things when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll hear from L'Jarius Sneed here in just a moment. But let's go to Linda. Linda, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hello. Sorry for my voice. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes, Linda, we can.
Well, my late father-in-law, Bob Hyde.
Oh, yes.
Well, I have something from a player in the Super Bowl that I probably shouldn't have. And I want to give it back to that player because Bob has passed away and my husband has passed away and I'm 80 years old now and my daughter is not much of a football fan and I don't want this item just to wind up in football wasteland. And I want to find out how to get it back to the player. Now, his son is still playing football. It's John Runyon is who the item belongs to. And his son, I think, is still playing for the Giants.
Yes.
So how is the best way to get it back to that, either that player or that player's son, to let him know that I have taken real good care of it? And
what is it?
So I ain't telling.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Well, give your number to Jackson, and I speak to John Runyon periodically throughout the years. So yeah, definitely I can get it to where you need it to go.
There you go. Linda, so stay on the line. Do not hang up. Jackson will get that information here in just a moment. But KTAL News caught up with L'Jarius Sneed at his third annual youth football camp is actually in Louisiana. So that's where he's from, Louisiana. So sorry. Okay, that's right. We were talking earlier about Texas, but it was Louisiana. Okay. But he was asked about where he's at in his health, how he's doing on the offseason, all that kind of stuff. So here's what L'Jarius Sneed had to say.
I'm healthy as I've been. Last year, my first year didn't go as planned, but it's time to come out and show the world and show what God's been instilling in me this entire year. I'm ready to get back on the field, and that's my life. That's what I do for a living, and I missed the whole year. And I have to remind everybody who L'Jarius Sneed is.
So just in case you guys maybe missed that or whatever, he says, I'm healthy as I've ever been. Last year, my first year in Tennessee didn't go as planned, but it's time to come out and show this world and show what God has been instilling in me this entire year. I'm ready to get back on the field, and that's my life. That's what I do for a living. I missed a whole year, and I have to remind everybody who L'Jarius Sneed is. Your thoughts, Blaine Bishop?
Oh, my. That's the Sneed we want right there, man. I mean, if he gets anywhere near to 100%, man, they better watch out because this guy is a killer. Yeah. I mean, he, as far as the cornerback position is, all we have to do is go pull up what he did to Tyreek Hill, and he pushed to the ground and buried him and stomped on him pretty much the whole way. Ball of wax in the playoffs. So this guy's the real deal. So I'm hoping we get to see that version. If he stays healthy, man, that then can kind of change a lot of things defensively and what they can do out there. So that'll be boy, I hope that is true because, man, you hate to see great players like that get injured and then you just never rekindle what they used to be. Yeah. And we haven't seen that here in Tennessee. Yeah. We haven't seen it at all.
Because once you get injured, it's over.
Yeah, right? The 5 games we didn't get to see really what we would see glimpses of it, but we didn't see what he was.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that with the way he's talking right there, man, I'm gonna be excited on my drive home.
If you're not watching on YouTube, when he got to that last little part where it's like, and I have to remind everybody who L'Jarius Sneed is, your eyes lit up like it was Christmas morning. Like, I mean, you were like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it.
When elite players start talking like that, man, you better watch out now.
And he says, because we've said that L'Jarius Sneed is probably the biggest Jenga piece for this entire defense. defense.
Absolutely.
This defense is going to be as productive as he's able to be productive, as he's able to erase a whole side of the field or a wide receiver that helps everybody else. And he goes, I'm healthy. I'm healthy as I've ever been. So we will see, because our biggest lingering question was, is L'Jarius Sneed going to be available for training camp practices?
Right, back to back.
You know, I mean, what's their schedule? And this right here kind of sounds like, unless the Titans limit him, it doesn't sound like he's going to be very limited throughout this offseason.
I hope that is true, and then they do limit him just to make sure he's ready to rock and roll. Because, boy, hey, man, if he gets it, man, he be out there trying to choke wide receivers. Yeah. I want to see that guy.
Yeah. And listen, we did not get to see that guy a lot last year, if at all. Yeah. And he's kind of a little bit of a slow starter, but not as much as it was last year. But this is a guy that's coming out with something to prove.
Yeah.
And if you're a Tennessee Titans fan that has, I've been saying, let's just preach patience over to see how this year plays out for L'Jarius Sneed before we call it automatically a terrible trade.
Right.
Or, terrible trade and terrible signing and extension. If you get this this is the L'Jarius Sneed that's coming to Nashville this year and coming to Nissan Stadium and whatever, you are in for a treat.
Oh, no doubt. It's must-watch TV. So I'm just hoping he stays healthy and we just get him every week.
That, to me, is the key.
It will be
is going to be health. Because if he stays healthy, you know that the true L'Jarius Sneed is going to come back and be there for you.
Yeah, because he's that dude. He
is that dude.
You just heard a glimpse of it. And when he starts building that confidence back up that I'm back, then everything else is going to fall into place, hopefully.
Well, real quick, let's end with Mike in Bellevue. Mike, what piece of Titans history would you like to have as a memorabilia?
Well, I have a signed game jersey of Steve McNair's.
Oh, cool.
That the year he was co-most valuable player, I can't remember what year that was. I think it was him and I want to say
Peyton Manning,
maybe. But anyway, I got it from that year, and I also have a signed towel of Javon Curse rookie year. He signed a towel for me that has the Titans logo on it. So anyway, that's memorabilia.
That's really cool. I appreciate it, Mike. That will do it for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. 3HL's up next. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.